It's me, Suge, and 3 others. I don't want to say their names because I don't know if they want to be mentioned out there like that.
Eazy was pissed off at Suge for taking N.W.A, and it was much money and energy and work that Eazy put into starting Ruthless and making it a success, you know, like that.
I'll turn the on Mob James is not lying about that. Them niggas did that shit. But when we showed up, we stopped all of that shit.
On one fateful night, the simmering tension between Ruthless Records and Death Row Records allegedly exploded into violence when a crew of armed men stormed Death Row's headquarters. The story has become hip-hop folklore, Eazy-E sending his most feared enforcers to terrorize Suge Knight's empire in retaliation for stealing Dr. Dre.
Okay, fine. I told him I gotta get Dre's contract, not now, but right now.
Right.
But decades later, the truth remains shrouded in contradictions, with bodyguards changing their stories, key witnesses turning up dead, and no official police record of the incident ever surfacing. This is the uncensored account of that infamous night, pieced together from jailhouse confessions, FBI files, and the fading memories of those who were there. A story about how myths become more powerful than facts in the world of gangster rap. Mob James, Suge Knight's most feared enforcer, spent years behind bars telling anyone who would listen about the night Death Row was attacked. In his vivid account, the violence began when a convoy of black Suburban rolled up to Death Row's offices unannounced. He described how Eazy-E's men, including the infamous Samoan Twins, burst through the doors with weapons drawn.
Suge tried to destroy my record company with the help of others, Dre. So right now we're getting everything back together and we finna come out, you know, fully loaded.
According to James, the 6'5" Death Row security chief Big Animal was pistol whipped so brutally that his gold grill shattered across the floor. The invaders allegedly flipped desks and tore through filing cabinets while Death Row staff were forced to kneel at gunpoint. James claimed the attackers made off with master recordings and contract paperwork, what he called Eazy's revenge for Suge stealing Dr. Dre from Ruthless Records.
Eazy was pissed off at Suge for taking N.W.A, and it was much money and energy and work that Eazy put into starting Ruthless and making it a success, you know, like that.
The problem with James's story is the glaring lack of evidence to support it. Despite his graphic descriptions of blood on the walls and stolen property, no police report was ever filed about the incident. Flight records show Eazy-E was in New York that week for promotional appearances, making it unlikely he personally ordered any attack. Most damning of all, Big Animal's dental records showed no evidence of the brutal beating James described. These inconsistencies have led many to question whether Mob James was embellishing his account to bolster Suge Knight's reputation as an untouchable gangster rap mogul who had survived an assassination attempt from his rivals. The counter-narrative from Ruthless Records insiders paints a completely different picture of that September night.
It's me, Suge, and 3 others. I don't want to say their names because I don't know if they want to be mentioned out there like that.
According to former bodyguards and executives, the men who visited Death Row were Jerry Heller's personal security team, not Eazy-E's enforcers. Ruthless maintained its own security staff, composed largely of ex-LAPD officers, while Heller employed his own separate team that included former Israeli Special Forces operative Mike Klein and the infamous Samoan Twins, who actually worked for Heller's white label distribution company rather than directly for Ruthless Records. Eazy-E's whereabouts during the alleged attack further undermined Mob James's version. Tour schedules and flight manifests prove the N.W.A founder was on the East Coast promoting his solo album when the incident supposedly occurred. His personal bodyguards, all accounted for in New York, were known professionals with law enforcement backgrounds, not the street enforcers described in Death Row's version of events. Heller himself admitted to visiting Death Row that week, but characterized it as a business meeting to discuss unpaid royalties that turned heated.
Guns on security.
I had a little bitty ass 25. I'm incriminating myself on this goddamn thing, but I had a little pistol.
The most compelling evidence against the Eazy ordered a hit narrative came in 1994 when Heller sued Suge Knight for intimidation, a lawsuit that made no mention of any violent raid ordered by Eazy, despite occurring just months after the alleged incident. The mysterious case of Big Animal remains one of the most troubling aspects of this story. As Death Row's head of security, the 6'5" enforcer was supposedly the primary victim of the alleged attack, yet his accounts changed dramatically over time.
Turn the phone on. Mob James is not lying about that. Them niggas did that shit. But when we showed up, we stopped all of that shit.
Immediately after the incident, he gave interviews describing a violent ambush by Ruthless record operatives. But just 18 months later, after disappearing from public view, Big Animal resurfaced with a very different story, downplaying the event as nothing more than heated business negotiations.
And so when Suge ran up in that bitch, and we came out on him and all his niggas, posted him up, dared him to touch a phone, and you can't run up in this bitch no more. If you do, you got us to fucking deal with.
The inconsistencies in Big Animal's testimony raised red flags. His initial claims of being pistol whipped until his gold grill broke were contradicted by dental records showing no such injuries in 1993. Even more suspicious was his complete reversal on whether Eazy-E was involved at all. Some industry insiders speculated Big Animal had been pressured to change his story, either by Death Row or outside forces. His mysterious death in 2002, just before he was scheduled to testify in a lawsuit against Suge Knight, added fuel to these theories. The LAPD ruled it a gang-related shooting, but no suspects were ever arrested, and many who knew Big Animal doubted the official explanation. Former associates revealed that in his final years, Big Animal had been compiling notes about his time at Death Row, including his version of the raid incident. These documents vanished after his death, along with a purported audio recording he made detailing the truth about that night. The timing of his murder, coming as it did on the eve of potentially explosive testimony, led many to believe Big Animal was killed because he knew too much. Not just about the Ruthless Records incident, but about Death Row's own criminal activities. His story serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of being caught between warring factions in the gangster rap world. The legend of the Samoan Twins has taken on a life of its own in hip-hop lore, but uncovering the truth about these alleged enforcers reveals just how murky this story really is. Described in Mob James's account as two 300-pound monsters who tore through Death Row's offices like wrestlers on PCP, the Twins have never been positively identified in any official records. Ruthless Records insiders claim they were actually Jerry Heller's personal security team, hired through his distribution company rather than being directly employed by Eazy-E or Ruthless. Tracking down information about the Twins proves frustrating. One reportedly died in a 1995 drive-by shooting that some connect to ongoing tensions between Death Row and Ruthless affiliates. The other allegedly moved to Hawaii, where he still works in private security under a different name. A 2017 interview with a former Ruthless bodyguard claimed the Twins weren't even in Los Angeles on the night of the alleged attack. They were working security at a Las Vegas casino, with time cards and surveillance footage to prove it. The most plausible explanation is that the Samoan Twins were indeed real enforcers who worked for Heller's operation, but their involvement in any Death Row incident has been exaggerated over time. Their fearsome reputation made them convenient boogeymen for Death Row to blame, helping Suge Knight cultivate his image as a gangster who had survived an assassination attempt from his rivals. The Twins' actual whereabouts during the alleged attack suggest they may have been used as scapegoats in a larger power struggle between two rap empires.
When we showed up, we didn't give a fuck about nobody. We hated everybody. We wanted to fight any motherfucking body that wanted to fight us, whatever, it didn't fucking matter.
The tension between Death Row and Ruthless Records didn't end with one alleged attack. It sparked a full-blown bodyguard war that played out in clubs, studios, and even courtrooms. These weren't just rap beefs. They were street-level power struggles fought by men who blurred the line between security and soldiers. Recording sessions turned into armed standoffs. Former engineers recall Ruthless bodyguards posting up outside Death Row studios, forcing artists to enter through back doors. One infamous night in '94, Mike Klein, Heller's ex-Israeli commando, allegedly confronted Death Row's blood-affiliated security at Can-Am Studios. No shots were fired, but the message was clear. This wasn't just about rap. It was about territory. Clubs like The Vibe and Cafe Club Phase Doo Doo became battlegrounds. Ruthless bodyguards wore all blue, Crip aligned, while Death Row's security rocked red, blood affiliated, a dangerous fashion statement in 90s LA. Bouncers still talk about the night Big Animal and the Samoan Twins nearly brawled at an after-party, only to be separated by LAPD's gang unit. The feud spilled into court. When Suge sued Jerry Heller for fraud, Heller's bodyguards allegedly intimidated witnesses. One Death Row accountant changed his testimony after his car was firebombed, a case that remains unsolved. Meanwhile, Eazy's security team filed restraining orders against Death Row enforcers, claiming death threats at industry events. By '96, the bodyguard wars had cooled, but not before leaving bodies and broken careers in their wake. Some ruthless guards flipped to Death Row after Eazy's death, while others vanished into obscurity. The only real winners? The lawyers and bail bondsmen. Declassified FBI documents reveal the government was closely monitoring both Death Row and Ruthless records during this period, though their interest had more to do with drug trafficking and gang connections than rap industry beefs. The files contain intriguing references to the alleged attack, including an informant's claim that Suge Knight may have staged the incident to justify his own violent actions against Ruthless artists. One particularly revealing memo discusses Mike Klein, Heller's Israeli bodyguard, being questioned by federal agents. The ex-Special Forces operative admitted to visiting Death Row on business, but denied any violent confrontation. The FBI seemed more interested in Klein's possible connections to international arms dealing than any rap industry dispute. Another document suggests the Bureau believed Suge Knight had paid witnesses to corroborate Mob James's version of events, though no charges were ever filed. Perhaps most chilling is a heavily redacted report from 1994 mentioning a pattern of witness intimidation in cases involving both labels. The document references Big Animal's initial statements to police and his subsequent retractions, implying he may have been coerced into changing his story. While the FBI files don't provide definitive answers, they paint a picture of two record labels operating like criminal enterprises, with the truth becoming collateral damage in their war for dominance.
And the only reason I'm doing this, me and Jack, because this is a big part of hip-hop history. This incident, in my opinion.
3 decades later, the legend of Eazy-E's goons storming Death Row endures because it represents the defining paradox of gangsta rap, the tension between authentic street credibility and carefully crafted mythology. The story has outlived most of its key players because it serves multiple narratives. For Death Row, it bolstered Suge Knight's reputation as an untouchable gangster. For Ruthless, it allowed Eazy-E to maintain his ruthless image without getting his hands dirty. For the industry at large, it became a cautionary tale about the violent underside of hip-hop's golden age. The truth may never be fully known, but the legacy is undeniable. This incident marked the moment when rap beefs escalated from lyrical jabs to potentially lethal confrontations, setting a dangerous precedent that would haunt hip-hop for years to come. In the end, the music outlived the men. The myths outlasted the facts, and the legend of that September night continues to grow larger than reality.